Well, hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast, episode number 133. I'm Emily McDermott, and I'm here beside you on this journey as we work together to declutter your home, head, and heart. Maybe you have decided that this is the summer that you are finally going to get your house in order. You are going to declutter. You are going to organize. This is happening. And if that is the case, maybe you've thought about working with me, and I would love to work with you. So you can always go to simplebyemmy.com/coaching to find out about my virtual and in-person coaching services. However, today I'm going to be going through the exact step-by-step process that I use with my clients, and I also use myself to declutter my home and their homes, of course, in less time. This is going to be a super practical, super tactical episode. So make sure that you grab that notebook and pen, and let's dive into today's episode. Hey there, Mama. Are you tired of all the stuff crowding your home, calendar, and mind? Do you wish you could say goodbye to the endless to-do list running around in your head? Want to declutter but don't know where to start? You're in the right place. Welcome to Moms Overcoming Overwhelm, where you will find proven and practical solutions to declutter your home, head, and heart. Hi, I'm Emily, a wife, boy mom, and simplicity seeker. I struggled to get pregnant and felt overwhelmed until I discovered decluttering could create the physical and emotional space I needed to become a mom. Now, 2 kids later, I've transformed my life and motherhood by developing simple systems around decluttering, capsule wardrobes, kid stuff, cleaning and tidying, meal planning, time management, and more, and I can't wait to share them with you. If you're ready to reclaim the time and energy you crave, be present with your kids, and finally enjoy the life and motherhood you so deserve, let's kick overwhelm to the curb, shall we? Grab your lukewarm coffee, your notebook and pen, and clear up some counter space. Let's do this. Before we jump in, I have one quick announcement, which is that we're having a review giveaway from today until June 30th. And so if you have not left a review for the show on Apple Podcasts, or maybe you've already done that, and thank you, and you can share the show with a friend, either way, I'm going to be giving away 2 $50 Amazon gift cards, and all you need to do is write your review or share the show and send me the screenshot to info@simplebyemmy.com to be entered in the giveaway. Now, I know that it doesn't take too long to do the review or share the show, but you might think, there's a lot of people entering, so I won't bother. Believe me, there's probably less people than you think. You have a really good chance of winning that gift card, so don't delay, and I really appreciate your support. So let's go ahead. What do you say? Let's dive into these 10 steps that I use in my own home and also with my clients to declutter our homes in less time. So step number 1, we are going to start with the most unemotional, unsentimental places possible. And if you're new to the show, then maybe you don't know, but I always recommend starting in your car. And then you can move to your bathroom, maybe the refrigerator. I always like to say that moldy leftovers counts as decluttering. The point is that decluttering is decision making, and that can be really hard. So we want to start with the easy stuff. Anywhere where you have a lot of trash or things that need to be relocated. And so we want to start in those areas first. We do not want to start with the baby clothes. We do not want to start with the sentimental stuff. We do not want to start with photos or anything that's going to take a lot of time. We want these quick wins. We want to be able to have that motivation and that momentum. And I'm going to mention this a couple times in the episode, but in the Facebook group, tinyurl.com/Moms Overcoming Overwhelm, we are currently doing a challenge this week. We do one every other week. So if you need some extra support, head on over there. We are happy to help you out. Step number two is to pick one small area of the room that you're selecting or a subcategory within that area. It really should only take you 15 to 20 minutes. And then, of course, if you have more time, then go for it. Now, your car, that might take you 15 minutes. It might take you 30 minutes. You could, of course, pick one small area of your car to start with first. Maybe you do the trunk to start because we tend to have a lot of junk back there. And then the next time you go to the front of the car. But let's use the example of your medicine cabinet. Perhaps you only have time to do a couple shelves of the medicine cabinet. So again, we're picking these small areas that are completely doable. Let's say we're going to pick the cold medicines and like the pain meds that we have, and those are going to be the subcategories that we choose. Then we're going to move on to step number 3, which is that we're taking everything out of the space that we've selected from that subcategory. So let's stick with our medicine cabinet example. We're going to take out all the cold medicines and the Tylenol and the ibuprofen and the Motrin and all of those types of things. We're going to take everything out. And then we're going to look and say, okay, what is expired? What do I have like a couple drops left that I can get rid of? We start making some of those easy decisions. And before we put anything back, we then are moving on to step number 4, which is deciding how you want that space to function, to feel, and to flow. So for the medicine cabinet, maybe it's more how you want it to function. Do we want to have the cold medicine on this shelf? Is there enough room? Do we want to move things around? You might need to take everything off of the medicine cabinet shelves in order to understand that. But you want to not put anything back, and then you're going to figure out what is the ideal scenario for how I want this area to look. Let's use another example of bedroom. A lot of times when I'm working with clients in the bedroom, the issue is that there is stuff all over the dressers and all of the surfaces are cluttered. So normally what we do is that we start with those areas first. So we're going to take everything off from that area. So we've decided the surface, let's say, of the dresser. And then I say, okay, how do you want this to look? Do you want anything on the top of your dresser? Do you want just a couple things that are meaningful to you? So we want to understand how we want that space to feel and then also function, because if we have stuff covering every surface, it's difficult to find things, it's difficult to function in the room. So figuring that out is important. And then we're going to move on to step number 5, which is using the container concept. Again, this is foundational to what I teach. It is from Dana K. White. I want to make sure I always give her the credit, but she is at A Slob Comes Clean, and she is the one that taught me about this. And what you want to do is that you want to select an area or a container for that subcategory. But this is the important part, people, based upon how important it is to you. Okay, so let's think of another example. Now we're going to move to our refrigerator. So the refrigerator is a container in and of itself, but within there we have different areas where we put different things. So let's say that we're thinking about what are the most important things in the fridge. That would be probably like the milk and the eggs and the bread, some of those staples. So we wouldn't want to open up our fridge and then just see a bunch of condiments and a bunch of like candy and cake and all of this stuff that we don't really use. We want to organize the space in the container based upon how important that thing is to you. So the space of the container for that subcategory needs to reflect that value because it is going to take time and energy to manage it. Another example, which I will use for this step and the next, is my kids' treasure chests, which I use in air quotes. Those are the trinkets and the junky things that they get from parties and the dentist office and everything. So we have selected a shoebox to put all of that stuff in. I do not have a humongous tub that takes up their entire room full of the junky stuff, even though they probably would have enough to fill that with. But the point is that we're trying to pick the amount of space based upon the importance, and that is not very important to have a bunch of junky stuff. We'd rather have room in their room for their clothing, for books, for their stuffed animals, that kind of thing. So moving on to number 6, we then start filling whatever that container that you've selected based upon how important it is to you. We start playing my favorite game, love, like, maybe, no. So we're going to start filling it with the things that we love, then what we like, and then we are going to make decisions on the maybes and get rid of the no's. We're going to move on to a different example. I'm giving lots of examples today. But let's say we're talking about our closet, and we've already decided that we're just going to focus on tank tops today. We've taken out all the tank tops, put them on our bed. We've decided how much space in our closet we want to allot to tank tops, how many hangers worth, right? And then we're going to start filling that area back up with the tank tops that we wear the most, that we love the most. And when that area starts getting full, we have to make a decision. Do we keep some of these maybes? Do we donate them? Well, if you can't decide, then we move on to step number 7. We want to use that out of sight, out of mind bin. It is a form of delayed decision making. The most important thing is that we always come back to it. So we want to make sure that we have a date in our phone, a reminder to come back. Let's say that for the tank tops, we're going to check back in August, maybe September. If we have not thought about any of those tank tops, if we did not want to wear them at all over the summer, then we are going to let those go because we already have our allotted space in our closet for tank tops. So once you have made that decision about the amount of space that you want to allot, it's really just making decisions within that space. Okay, moving on to step number 8. Are you all with me? I hope so. I know I'm giving you a lot of information. And of course, if you need extra support and you want to go through this step by step with me, I would love to hop on a coaching call with you. So you can head over to simplebyemmy.com/coaching so we can do that. But step number 8 is to get donations in your car immediately, or have that pickup date set and make sure you have your donations in a specific place, because a lot of times if they don't make it out of your house right away, they're not going to make it out. So when I work with my clients, a lot of times we have bags that have labels on them. So let's say that we know this bag is going to Goodwill, this bag is going to your neighbors, this bag is going to your sister. You know, you have different places that you want these things to go, but you want to get everything in your car and then of course figure out when you are going to be dropping those things off or having a pickup. And the same goes when you have things to shred or things to scan. When it comes to paper, you tend to have a lot of paper in the process when you are decluttering that kind of comes up. And that kind of brings us to step number 9, which is to decide what systems need to be in place to keep the space clutter-free. So that might be daily tidying. It might be putting a block on your calendar to go through paper every 2 to 3 days. It might be that weekly donation pickup. Could be a variety of things, but deciding what systems need to be in place to make sure that the area is not going to get cluttered again. And then finally, step number 10 is that we're going to pick one of those systems and then we're going to work on making that a habit. And I've talked before about my daily resets, how that is really important to me, that I do them in the morning and also in the evening. But if I started, let's just say with the morning one, that I wanted to clear out the kitchen before I started my work, then I would want to make sure, okay, what's kind of like a micro habit within that reset habit that I could work on? Maybe it would be that I'm always unloading the dishwasher in the morning, and that is the one thing that I want to work on for this week. Then you could work on another thing, like maybe wiping down the countertops. But the point is we want to make it so small we can't say no, work on making the habit, and then move on from there. So there you go. Those are my 10 tips, the exact step-by-step process. I'm going to give you one more bonus tip, and then we're going to go through them all and talk about what we can do as our next step. So the bonus tip, which I've talked about before, is to try to not get distracted as you are working in a space. And that's why having go back bins or go back bags are really important. And those are bags or bins where you put things that need to go to other areas of your home. And you know, okay, all this stuff needs to go to the basement, all this stuff needs to go on the main floor, but you're not going there in the process. You're not getting distracted. So it's really important that you have focus in that one area, especially if you're doing 15 to 20 minutes. Do not walk away. Do not get distracted. So there is your bonus tip. Okay, we're going to run through these 10 one more time, and then we're going to talk about the next steps that you can take to really move forward on your goals of getting your house decluttered this summer. So step number 1, start with the most unemotional, unsentimental areas first. Number 2, pick one small part of the room you select or a subcategory within that area. For example, tank tops within the closet. Step number 3, take everything out from that area, from that subcategory. Step number 4, decide how you want that area to feel, function, and flow before you fill anything back up. Step number 5, decide on the container that you want for that subcategory based upon how important it is to you. Step number 6, start filling it with what you love first, then what you like, and then figure out what you want to do with the maybes and donate or get rid of the rest. Step number 7, for those maybes, if you can't make a decision, use an out of sight, out of mind bin and come back to it. Step number 8, get those donations in your car immediately. Set that pickup date. Make sure it doesn't stay in your house. Step number 9, decide what systems need to be in place to keep the space clutter-free. Maybe that's a weekly donation pickup. Maybe it's going through your papers every couple days. Maybe it's daily resets. Step number 10, start with one micro habit part of that you want to do, that system. And then once you have it mastered, move on from there. And of course, the bonus tip, don't get distracted. Use those go back bins and try to stay in the area that you're in so that you can get that 15 to 20 minutes. It's amazing what you can do when you're actually able to focus. So if you need extra support, I, of course, always recommend the free Facebook group, tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm. And I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to Mackenzie. This was some of her feedback in the group. She said, everything I did from the challenges in January and February are still decluttered and organized. It took long to get there, but each drawer, cabinet, and surface is still being handled well, is easy to clean, and I find myself with no anxiety from those spaces anymore. Emily, I am truly thankful for your guidance and permission slips. I've been able to let go of more and more that I never thought was possible. It's so silly what we can be emotionally attached to. Well, Mackenzie has been very consistent in the free challenges. And so if you want to hop on board with that, come on over to the Facebook group. And otherwise, I would love to work with you one-on-one to come up with a personalized plan so that we can make sure that you are getting your home decluttered this summer. And I can't wait to talk to you and to work with you. You can head on over to simplebyemmy.com/coaching. Or if you go to simplebyemmy.com/clarity, we can hop on a 10-minute call, a free call, just to see if we would be a good fit before moving forward. On Thursday, we are having Julie Redmond back. She is from the Mom Made Plans podcast. And I just can't wait for you to listen to this conversation with Julie. She's really one of my favorites. And we're going to be talking about time scarcity, when it's like we never have time to do the things that we want to do, and her assign a time method, which can really help us find the time that we need to do the things that we need to do and that we love to do. So I can't wait to see you then. Bye for now. If you like today's podcast, here's what you can do. Just take 30 seconds to leave me a review. I know you're a busy mama. You're overwhelmed, in fact, but 30 seconds of your day makes such an impact. I'll be blessed by your words. They'll definitely make my day. And who knows, you might be entered for this month's giveaway. In Apple Podcasts, scroll down to write a review. Thanks so much for your time. I'm so grateful for you.